Okay, so we're live on the YouTube. Where is this? We're live on the Facebook and huh. All right. Well, I thought I was going to go live on Instagram, but I need some more followers. I need 8 more followers to be able to go live on Instagram. So if you're not following me on Instagram, follow me at the Mythology Studio and we can do that. But happy summer solstice if you're in the northern hemisphere like me. I like to pop on here and offer I Ching readings whenever there is an auspicious event like the solstice or equinoxes or anything like that. So the I Ching is a little bit different than the other readings that I do. What we do is we allow ourselves to be intuitively drawn to 2 different cards. The first card is the present situation, or for this state, I think we'll say the current season, or I guess the season that we're leaving, the spring season. And the second card is the possible outcome. And we can say that that's what's going to transpire in this summer season. And there are these so-called lines of change here. I think you can see that. And what we'll do is we will see which ones are different in the 2 cards, and we will read from this little booklet to get some insight into how that change is going to happen in our 3D reality. So if there is something that you are carrying from the spring or the past season and you're ready to let that go, then I invite you to take this reading as an invitation to do so. Or if you're concerned about what the next season will bring, then this might offer some guidance into that. And we'll do one more for good luck. All right. And so, like we normally do, I'll invite you to, feel into the space where you are, or the space where you have been, and or the space where you'd like to be, or where you see yourself going, or where you imagine yourself going, wherever that lives. If it's a thought form, if it's a feeling, if it's an emotion, a tension, a sensation, whatever that is, I'll invite you to breathe into that. We'll take 3 breaths into that space. And as we exhale, we can imagine the breath carrying the energy of that emotion or that thought through the camera, through your phone, and into the cards, so we can get a more accurate reading. So, closing your eyes if that is safe for you, and feeling your feet flat on the floor, letting your shoulders slouch a little bit, letting your tongue relax, letting your face relax, and breathing in and out. 2 more times, breathing in and out. And last time, breathing in and out. I love these cards. I love this artwork on here by Klaus Holitska. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And what I like to do is bring all of my awareness to the tips of my fingers as I hover over. And we'll go as long as we need to until we feel a ping to a card. Pull that out. That'll be the present situation or the situation you're just leaving. And then we'll do that again and see what the season you're going into or what is on the horizon, what is coming up for you. And then we'll read about what that means. Yeah, a lot of those wanted to come out. So this is the current situation, the situation as it stands, or the situation that you've recently ended or resolved or is resolving. Yeah, let's try coming from over here. So the fact that all these different cards wanted to come out gives me the idea that, and reinforces the idea that the power of decision, the power of choice is always yours. And like I always say in my other readings for the collective, this isn't prescriptive. I don't know anything. It's laughable how little we can know about the nature of reality here on Earth. But that's neither here nor there. All that to say is this is one option for you. You know, this is going to resonate differently if you're if you're moving from a season of grieving to love, if you're moving from a season from abundance to perception of lack. Allow yourself to be discerning with what is coming up. So, current situation, situation you're leaving, last season, next season, possible outcome, a perception of the future. 37 reduces to 10. That might be relevant. I mean, 10's a completion cycle. This is, I see, I love this artwork, and I don't know enough, like I was saying, I don't know enough about what these images mean just yet without consulting the book, but this is giving me ancestors. This is giving me folks in the spirit realm, the team that is cheering you on, which I think is a great kind of threshold marker to see here. So I'd like to read, there's a little bit about each card, and then there's the lines. So let's see what 37 says. Oh, this is the card of kinship. Yep. The family is the archetype of the social community and a reflection of society. In a healthy family, the needs of each person are just as important as those of the group. This goes for all other groups as well. Trust and mutual acceptance must form an effective counterbalance to the authority of the person who leads. This sign is an invitation for you to recognize your own role in the group, family, or relationship and to fulfill it to the utmost. Ask yourself honestly whether openness, trust, and mutual support rule your relationships. Express your feelings freely and openly, and set a good example by living according to the group's ideals. This is very interesting, the family stuff coming up, because today is also Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there and all the fathers who have passed on. And it's funny that this comes up as well because I was thinking about community before I was tuning in, and this image of what a community created for introverts by introverts would be. And I just pictured this well-meaning person in this big open space with all of these chairs surrounding them in a circle, and no one else is in the chairs because it's a group of introverts. They're not going to come out. Their pants are already off. They're in for the night. But yeah, that's just where my mind was with this. So yeah, I think that's a good place to be, what with it being Father's Day as well as the solstice. So this is representative of where you are right now. Maybe you are in that examination role of how you fulfill that role in a group, a family, or a relationship. And maybe you are already asking yourself if openness, trust, and mutual support are things that not only are being reflected from those relationships, but are those things that you are putting into those relationships. And this is what's coming up in the next season, or where we're going, or a possible outcome. 24. This is giving, okay, well, now that I look at it on the screen, it looks like the ring girl, Samara. But before I said that or saw that, I was thinking of uh, the symbol for the North Node. And my North Node is in Aries. I don't know what that means. I know almost as little about astrology as I do about the I Ching, but it's fun to learn. Yeah, and this is even giving more of like a character. Like these could be the ribs, and this is the face, and this is the hair. That's very interesting. So this is where we're going. 24, 37 to 24. 24 is 6. Ooh, turning point, return. Now begins a hopeful time for renewal and growth. Nothing more stands in the way of a new start. You can leave outdated views and bad habits and feelings behind you and energetically shape your life. Get together with kind people, and you will achieve more than would be possible if each of you were to act alone. The best is when progress is made with people you love and who love you. And when this progress brings benefit to others as well as to yourself, there is no need to force anything. The improvement in your situation corresponds to the natural flow of events. The best things always happen by themselves. Know that the changes have been just. I'm sorry. Know that the changes have just begun. The new influence must first grow undisturbed before it can prove its worth. I think that's a great card and a great reading and a great message of this. It says turning point, this kind of turning point of the wheel of the seasons. So now what we do is we look at the numbers, or I'm sorry, the lines of change, and we look and see which ones are different. So line 1, it goes from 1 to 6. I think that's right. Oh, it's been too long since I've played with this. Hexagrams, that's what those are called. Line number 1 in this book is always at the bottom, and line 6 on the top. I knew that. So what we do is we look for the lines of change. So line 1 is the same, line 2 is the same, line 3 is different, um, and so on and so forth. And we will read them from the first card because we don't need to know what the change is changing into. We need to know how we're going from where we are and changing into what is coming up. I hope that makes sense. All right, so I need to look at it like this. 1 is the same, 2 is the same, 3 is different, 4 is the same, 5 and 6 is different. So what was that? 3, 5, and 6. Hmm. So we go back to 37. 3, 5, 6. Try to find the middle course between rigor and tolerance. Extremes would only cause damage at the moment. A compromise should be sought even when it is not to the liking of some. Mm, That was line 3. Line 5. A group leader should show love and understanding for those who are entrusted to his care and forfeits the right to leadership when these qualities are absent. Yeah. Line 6. You enjoy greater significance in your group than you yourself realize. You achieve a positive effect through a sense of responsibility and by being prepared to act. This means happiness and success for everyone. And we can kind of think of these as steps along the way, like going from lowest number to highest. So we might start with trying to find that middle course between rigor and tolerance. Extremes would only cause damage at the moment and damage to the group and probably show at least a perception of a lack of love from the folks in the group. But as uh, as you find that middle course, as you learn how to compromise, even with yourself and your own emotions, right? Even with love of yourself and allowing love to be something that you abide and embody and project, then that comes out. And those in your circles will start to respond to that. They'll start to feel held and safe, which will lead us to line 6, the greater significance in your group than you yourself realize. And yeah, I think that sense of responsibility, which is referenced in, it's talking about a sense of responsibility in line 6, but in line 5, it's referenced a group leader should show love and understanding for those who are entrusted to his care. That's the responsibility. And it's also a responsibility to forfeit the right to leadership when these qualities are absent. You achieve a positive effect through a sense of responsibility and by being prepared to act. This means happiness and success for everyone. And that middle path is can be a challenge, especially when ego wants to have his say. And I think there's a way to find a middle path to that, to allow ego to have their say, to let their feelings be known. A great way of doing that is journaling. You could write with the prompt, what most needs to be felt, uh, or show me the truth in this, make this make sense, and then just tune into the feeling, tune into whatever the ego is triggered by, and then just write it out. And then look for the truth, look for the compromise. Like if someone rear ends you, that's an accident. They didn't get up that morning and decide I'm going to go rear end someone. That's my goal for today. That's my purpose. That's what the cards told me. And you would be justifiably upset, annoyed, triggered by that. And I'm not here to tell you one response is right or better, but knowing, understanding that it wasn't their intention to hurt you, that they didn't get up with that intention, that it was just an accident, that might help you move out of that egoic place of defenseness, defensiveness, there it is, defensiveness into something of grace. You know, maybe they were looking at their phone because they were waiting for a message from a loved one. Maybe they were on their way to see a loved one. Maybe they really had to poop. Like that is, you can't ever know what's happening in the mind of someone else. And especially with traffic, one of the most fun, useful tools I've found when people are tailgating you, or people are speeding, or people are driving like maniacs. I just think, wow, that person really must have to poop. I also think, wow, they must already be late. But taking that perspective shifts me from being a victim to being an observer and a commiserator. Like I know that there have been times when I've really had to poop, and I got to rush, clenching my butt cheeks, hoping I get to the toilet in time. So that's, I think, a great example of what that middle path is, and that's an extremely goofy example, but I hope that you can apply it to your own life. And there is compassion with that, there is grace with that, and those are attributes of love as well. I'm sure that one Bible verse that talks about all the things love is would say that love is graceful, love is compassionate, love is love is wishing the best to someone speeding through traffic as they make their way to the toilet. That's the title. That's the reading. Happy Solstice. Happy Father's Day. I post readings for the collective every Tuesday and Thursday. I'm going to be doing another live tomorrow, tapping into the energy of Cancer season, which we just entered or will enter. I think we're entering it today. There's a lot of stuff happening today. This calendar is crazy. Uh, it's either today or tomorrow. And I'll be doing a special read for that. And I post readings every Tuesday and Thursday for the collective using tarot or oracle cards. And you can subscribe so you don't miss those. You can like this, you can share it, you can do all the YouTube and stuff. And the Facebooking stuff, I don't know if there's likes on there. I mean, I'm sure there's likes, but I don't know if there's subscriptions or follows. Follow me on at the Mythology Studio on Instagram so I can go live over there next time. And until next time, I just wish you nothing but peace, love, and happiness from this day forward. Take care.